Hello, and welcome to this week's Movie Math, where riddle me this: where will the Batman open next weekend? Forbes has guessed around 80 million, the trades have guessed 115, the studios at least 100 million, and Warner Brothers? Well, they're just too nervous to hazard a guess. They're just going to open this thing and see what happens. They're going to roll the bat dice. And obviously, it is Batman, globally one of the top 10 franchises of all time. And Warner Brothers is hoping that even though Spider-Man No Way Home is still playing and still doing strong business, No Way Home could have been really mean and released this week for digital. But Warner Brothers is hoping that audiences are hungry for a new grand comic book movie. But here are the obstacles that the Batman has to overcome business-wise. It's fascinating. All right, so first up, Rotten Tomatoes. At this point, one of the greatest villains of DC movies. The review embargo lifts tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My review will be ready. I just filmed it earlier today. And DC, as we all know, has had a very rough time with Rotten Tomatoes. Even the Oscar-winning, billion-dollar grossing Joker sits at 68%. Now, that's a joke. So funny and stupid. Now, usually I would say a blockbuster, especially a DC one, doesn't need a strong Rotten Tomatoes score because fans know how it's going to go down and they will rally. But Warner Brothers has made such a mess of their relationship with DC fans that many of those fans are eager to send a message to Warner Brothers at the box office, even if the Batman is a good movie. I'm curious to see if upset fans will hold the line, if they really can be heard at the box office. And equally bad for Warner Brothers, they seem to have created a feeling of non-interest from regular moviegoers, non-hardcore fans, whose time is taken up by Disney's mega-prolific Marvel and Star Wars franchises. Case in point, the Suicide Squad's weak box office numbers. Even with the day-and-date HBO Max release, it did not match Godzilla vs. Kong and Dune, which were released in the same manner. I know some of you like to point out that Peacemaker did well, but we have no actual information besides the information that Warner Brothers cherry-picked, and with the exception of the first 3 episodes when they dropped in the finale, the series never really trended. So I don't think that it performed as well as the Marvel and Star Wars shows over on Disney+, although that could partially just be due to how many people have HBO Max. But anyway, so I still think it's too hard to tell basically where the DC brand is sitting. So then there's the running time, right? 3 hours, not counting trailers. But Spider-Man No Way Home is 2.5 hours. That was 2.5 hours, and that did great. But if people are already on the line about whether or not they'll see the Batman in theaters or are planning to send a message, is that running time, along with coronavirus still being a concern for many, will that be a deal breaker? Especially when Warner Brothers has already told you, because when Spider-Man No Way Home came out, you had no idea when you would be able to see it in the comfort of your own home. But Warner Brothers has already guaranteed that you will be able to watch the Batman at home on HBO Max for no extra cost in just 45 days. I think that some people might be willing to wait the 45 days period, be it lack of interest or concern of coronavirus, or again, wanting to send a message to Warner Brothers. And then I also think that'll hurt the rewatchability factor, because you might go see it once in theaters, but with that runtime and all those other elements, you might just wait the 45 days to see it again. Now also, this is tough. As you can see, this paints a pretty bleak picture, but we just have to be honest with ourselves. And then if the Batman does rally, it'll be even more amazing. So Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, and Colin Farrell, even though he's unrecognizable here, all have very bad box office track records. They're not draws. They've proven at least, the Batman could make them draws, but to date, no matter how talented they might be, people for some reason just don't want to see them. It's like if you cast Ryan Gosling as Batman, a lot of people just would not care. And then as you might, Robert Pattinson does have an indie following that he has, I think, rightfully garnered, but the key word there is indie. Those movies did not do well at the box office. And he was in Tenet, but in Tenet it's impossible to tell how it did because it was released so early in the pandemic, but we all know that Christopher Nolan wasn't happy with how it did. So, is that Warner Brothers' fault, or was it Christopher Nolan's fault for casting Robert Pattinson. Maybe he got him back by telling him they should make him their Batman. As for Matt Reeves, for all the praise of his Apes movies, they only did solid box office. The first one that he did pretty well, more along the lines of a Mission Impossible movie. For some reason, those movies, even though they're spectacular, can never get to the $1 billion club, than a comic book movie. Pre-sales so far outside of premium theaters are weak. So the reviews tomorrow and fan screenings on Tuesday, lots of fan screenings on Tuesday, will hopefully generate very strong word of mouth that will get a lot of last minute ticket sales and walk-up business this weekend. It'll be interesting indeed to see the current state of the DC brand at the box office. All right, as for this weekend, Tom Holland continues to be Hollywood's new Prince Charming, with Uncharted falling only 47% in its second weekend. That's incredible, under 50%. And Spider-Man No Way Home still at number 3, with just a 23% drop in its 11th weekend. Wow, I'm very curious to see how it does up against the Batman next weekend. That's incredible. Uncharted is almost guaranteed to pass the century mark, crucial for any movie at any time, but the best most films have been able to hope for during the pandemic. The Batman will likely slow it down substantially this coming weekend, but these 2 strong weekends up front should help Uncharted down the line when it does hit digital. Channing Tatum's Dog also did very well, falling just 32% in its second weekend. It opened smaller than Uncharted, so it had less to fall. But that proves that Tatum is still a draw in the right movie after a rough few years, and a good sign for his upcoming film with Sandra Bullock, herself one of the few remaining movie stars in Hollywood. As for Peter Dinklage, he joins the rest of the Game of Thrones cast in their ongoing curse of not being able to make it outside of the show. Foo Fighters Studio 666, which has horrible reviews, even did better than Cyrano. And some of you might be like, hey, what about The Eternals, Grace? Well, The Eternals is Marvel's worst rated film to date, as you know, and Kit Harington is barely in it. Maybe Mahershala Ali doesn't want him in Blade. I didn't think of that, but if I were Mahershala Ali, I'd be a little nervous now. Over on streaming, let's move over to streaming. Once again, we start with Nielsen, where for the final week of January, Ozark remained on the top because, of course, it has all 4 seasons the way Nielsen counts shows. But look at Boba Fett. With the return of Mando in episode 5, Boba Fett soared from the middle of the pack to number 2. Will the incredible number 6 episode next week, when we get to that on the next week Nielsen charts, make it go to number 1? Oh, that's incredible. What a boost. As for movies that week, Encanto is still going very strong. We're watching it tonight at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you're a BTT Movie Club member. Upgrade or join today if you'd like to join in with your own copy of the film. But Encanto is still way ahead of every other film. Disney Plus continues to challenge Netflix here. They're trying to do it in series, but they don't have the deep bench that Netflix does, because Nielsen counts not just the season that's currently playing, but the backlog as well. But on movies, Disney Plus basically continues to split this list with Netflix. Over on Netflix's charts, which are just, a week behind, The Tinder Swindler is still their number 1 movie for the 3rd week in a row. Even the Texas Chainsaw Massacre could not unseat it, but did debut right behind it. As for series, Shonda Rhimes remains queen, with her latest, Inventing Anna, still number 1 in its 2nd weekend. Some of the audience scores for that are poor, but I decided to watch it. I just started it, and I think it's pretty darn good. So I think it's certainly a guilty pleasure. Over on iTunes, House of Gucci is finally available to rent and shot back to number 1. Lady Gaga can take heart that even though she was snubbed for an Oscar nomination, she's clearly a draw for moviegoers. Speaking of rentals, after just 1 week, you can already rent The Kingsman for just $4, probably because it's also available right now on Hulu and HBO Max at no extra cost. Did you check it out finally? What did you think of it? I liked it, but I know some people really do not because it's just so tonally different. And at a 99-cent rental, indie film The Lost Leonardo is also doing well. And speaking of Oscar noms, Dune and King Richard seem to be getting the biggest boost from those. So yes, the Batman finally hits theaters this Friday, although fan screenings start in earnest on Tuesday evening. So you might want to prepare thyself on social media. I think that there actually are things to spoil, so you might want to mute some words. Be careful out there. Again, the review embargo lifts tomorrow, so be sure to come back for my non-spoiler review, which will go up exactly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Only Vertical Entertainment dares open a movie against the Batman, which looks like another one to justify Bruce Willis's having his own Razzie category. What are you doing, Bruce? He's making money is what he's doing. I guess you can't fault that. His reputation's already in the crapper, so I might as well be a gold crapper. All right, tonight are the SAG Awards, along with the season finale of Euphoria, the most tweeted about show of the decade, according to Twitter. And they should come up with a nice little trophy for that. That's an impressive feat. And Killing Eve kicks off its final season. Did it stay too long? Who knows? Who cares? I like to. It's hard for me to quit shows, so I will be watching. Showtime also tries to grab your attention with the premiere of its Uber drama starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt, about the creation of Uber and all the drama that unfolded. I just canceled my Showtime subscription because I had it for Yellow Jackets, and I wasn't planning to renew it until the upcoming First Lady series, and now I don't know what to do. All right, Thursday sees, I'm trying to churn. It's so difficult to churn sometimes. There's so much content. Just get ready. All right, so Thursday sees the first 3 episodes of The Dropout on Hulu. I dropped my review on Friday. Fabulous. As well as the debut of a new season of Star Trek Picard on Paramount Plus, Joe vs. Carol on Peacock, and on HBO Max, the first 3 episodes of Our Flag Means Death and all episodes of BBC sensation The Tourist. Seriously, huge hit when it hit over in the UK and Australia. Everybody loved this show. It should be pretty good. And on Friday, there's all episodes of the Boys animated spin-off Diabolical, and Apple TV's Central Park returns. Now, I haven't even mentioned what Netflix has. Netflix has Blumhouse docuseries The Worst Roommate Ever, spotlighting horrible true roommates on Tuesday. Movie Against the Ice on Wednesday with Game of Thrones' Jaime Lannister, so it's probably going to tank. And then an original film with Gossip Girl's Leighton Meester on Thursday. And then on Friday, Toni Collette returns with another female-driven mystery series. Unbelievable, was so good a few years ago, it makes me want to watch this as well. So on streaming, they have really done a lot to counter-program the Batman. That is amazing. That's shocking. I can't believe so many things are coming out against the Batman. It's incredible. So that's this week's Movie Math. What have you been watching? What do you plan to watch? And what are your thoughts on the Batman? And what are your plans to see it? Share those thoughts down below. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.